Hey everyone, welcome back to Daily Classics. It's Rob having a cup of coffee. Found this car this morning, a 1972 Mustang. It's a coupe. It's not a bad looking car, 302 cubic inch engine, about 210 horsepower, 14,999 in Massachusetts. It's on Craigslist. Let's go check this car out. It's interesting. This car, I found this a little while ago, last night, and it has eyes, meaning that it's something that you don't see every day. It's a tunnel. They call this a tunnel back in those days. This look, and it's a refreshing look based on all the fastbacks that we're normally accustomed to. The fastback of these model year, the 71, 72, seems to be a little unbalanced from a design perspective. That's my view anyway. And I think this tunnel coupe has a different look altogether, kind of like slows down the large pace that this car was growing at. Because in 71, the car really grew wider. It got a little bit lower as well. It had a longer wheelbase. The most noticeable difference is when you stand up against the car, when you open up the hood, where your knees are to where the engine bay is, there's more crash protection because the car is a little longer. It's very stylish. If you remember that chrome front bumper, there's no front bumper photo of the car from the front, unfortunately, but that real thin chrome line bumper was so beautiful. Very familiar with, as you know, with the Shelbys and things like that. The urethane bumper was available as well. The 429 back then, the Cobra engines were doing like 375 horsepower. 72 was still a fairly good model year before everything started getting crazy with bumper standards and more federal emissions and all. But an interesting car. When you read the actual description on this car found on Craigslist, he says the car was in a garage since 1996, drives excellent. 302 is numbers matching, no rust, no rot. And he says that a few times. It even has the original air conditioning, but there's no belt, so that means it's not working. And the vinyl roof is in perfect condition. So, person sounds like a dealer. And what this car comes across to me is that it sat around for a long time. Likely in good condition. It might even be original paintwork. It might even be definitely the original interior. And from what I can sense, and then the person that took this car really spent hours and hours on the detailing of it to make it look as beautiful as it does here in the photos. But the beauty of the exterior of the car and the engine bay, you can see was detailed. But when the car has been sitting this long, I'm just wondering, was his carburetor gone through? Was the brakes gone through? He doesn't mention that. He mentions that the front end of the car needs some type of wheel alignment and things like that. And so, it's like one of those things where, well, I'm not going to have to put some money into this car as far as getting, the suspension changed, getting into the brake hardware, getting into the undercarriage of the exhaust system. Maybe the gas tank might be rotted. You don't know. Even though the car doesn't have rot underneath, it still has moisture. When it sits that long, especially in the cold weather of the Northeast, New England market, if there was no vapor barrier underneath the car, you might have surface rust. No rust through, he's saying on the ad. But yeah, so you might have to do engine work. You might have to do gasoline tracing and gas tank and brake lines and fluids. He mentions the front suspension, the ball joints and things like that need to be looked at. So if he did all those things, I mean, if he did the gas tank, if he changed the carburetor, if he did all the brakes and the hardware and changed the brake fluids and things like that, then yeah, that becomes more exciting for me. But if he neglected to do all those things and just really put a big detail on this car, and I can tell you, people can get into a detail where they'll take the air cleaner off and really clean that carburetor, make it look like a brand new carburetor, but never taken off the engine to be benched and cleaned out and such. So I'm a little suspicious on that, but it's definitely a car that I would definitely check out. The interior looks great. I mean, it looks really nice. I'm not sure if the black headliner was standard, but it might be. They may have just used one color headliner back then. But either way, it looks to be a nice tight headliner. The seats look to be very original. Door panels look great. It does show one photo that might appear here, that there's a crack in the dashboard. These were very fluffy and cushion type dashboards. They do crack easily. And to take this dashboard out, the cover, it involves a lot of work. So if you can do that type of work yourself, You might have to take the front windshield out to do that. If you can do it yourself, all the best. But to have somebody do it for you, you're talking, $600, $700, $800 easy just of labor, and not counting what has to be done. It has the original FM radio receiver that we all put in back in those days from J.C. Whitney, and that's it. Basically manual controls here. Somebody put gauges in the car, which is cool. That's what we did back in those days. And so, yeah, I mean, I like the car a lot. I think it's a refreshing look. That belt line might be original, so I'm thinking that this might have all original paint to it. It might have been spotted over the years, but if there's no Bondo on any of the areas, no rust, I mean that's all the better as well. So yeah, I like this car, but I'm suspect on its overall condition. I wish he had gave us a front view of the car. Again, in that year, you could get the urethane bumpers back then. It was very, very pretty. I thought the car looks really nice in those days. Remember, they had the 429 Cobra jets, 375 horsepower. It was kind of like the swan song of muscle car, 1972. After that, things started getting a little crazy. So, but an interesting, refreshing car to see. Is it worth $14,900? You got to go look at it. To put a discount on the car right away, I'm thinking if I have to do all those things to it, I'm probably about $9,000 on this car. But if you did address the gas tank and the brakes and the fluids, and you really got into the engine, and the engine has good compression, and things like that, then the car is worth more money, and it might even be worth very close to the $13,000-$14,000 range that he's looking for. I think you can have a lot of fun with this car. I don't think you lose money with it over the years. I don't see it appreciating much because of it's not a fastback, and it's not a 429 and things like that. But I think it's a refreshing look. I like the car a lot. Hope you do as well. If you would like to find this car, just go to Craigslist and in Massachusetts, type in 1972 Mustang Coupe, and this car will come popping at you. Please join us. Subscribe to this channel if you're not already a subscriber. Basically, just go on here on our YouTube channel. There's a button there you press and says subscribe. Please pass along this channel to friends that love cars. That's how we grow. We'll be finding cars all through this springtime selling season and buying season. It's going to be a great season for the car enthusiast. With all the people that start going to showrooms now with tariffs, seeing prices of new cars, I think there's going to be a lot of people looking into the 1980s and 90s to find cars that they can drive daily, because the sticker shock on the windows of the cars in the next couple months might really drop you down. So, but we'll see what happens. Everything's fluid dynamics right now. But yeah, so that's it. So thanks very much for joining us this morning, and this beautiful 1972 Mustang, original 302, beautiful tunnel back coupe. I think it's a refreshing look. I like it a lot, but just suspect on what it's going to need to make it really a nice driver on the highways and make it safe and all that stuff. So again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.